Welcome to my channel. Try this quiz and see how many questions you can get right. Let's get started.
Question 1. What is the role of the Prime Minister of Australia? A. The head of a state government. B. The leader of the Australian government. C. The representative of the head of state in Australia. D. The representative of the head of state in each state. Correct answer B. The leader of the Australian government. The Prime Minister is the leader of the Australian government. The Prime Minister leads the federal government and makes national decisions. State governments are led by premiers, and the representatives of the head of state are the Governor-General, nationally, and governors, in each state, not the Prime Minister. Question 2. What is the role of the Governor-General in Australia? A. Running a territory government. B. Representing the head of state in each state. C. Leading the federal government. D. Acting on behalf of Australia's head of state. Correct answer D. Acting on behalf of Australia's head of state. The Governor-General performs duties on behalf of the head of state in Australia. This includes signing laws, appointing ministers, and carrying out official national responsibilities. The Governor-General does not run the government. That role belongs to the Prime Minister, and each state has its own governor. Question 3. What do you promise at the Australian Citizenship Ceremony? A. To obey only local laws. B. To take part only in referendums. C. To be loyal to Australia and its people. D. To learn about Australian wildlife. Correct answer C. To be loyal to Australia and its people. At the Australian Citizenship Ceremony, new citizens make a pledge to be loyal to Australia and its people. This means respecting Australia, its laws, values, and democratic system. Question 4. When did European settlement begin in Australia? A. 26th January 1788. B. 26th March 1901. C. 26th June 1660. D. 26th November 1780. Correct answer A. 26th of January 1788. European settlement in Australia began on the 26th of January 1788, when the first fleet arrived at Sydney Cove from Britain. This date is now known as Australia Day. It marks the start of permanent European settlement in Australia. Question 5. What event is remembered on Australia Day? A. The arrival of the first fleet in 1788. B. The formation of the Australian Federation in 1901. C. The end of World War II. D. The decision to make Canberra the national capital. Correct answer A. The arrival of the first fleet in 1788. Australia Day marks the arrival of the first fleet at Sydney Cove on the 26th of January 1788. This event is considered the beginning of permanent European settlement in Australia. Today, Australia Day is a public holiday and is also a time to reflect on Australia's history, including its impact on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Question 6. What is remembered on Anzac Day in Australia? A. The service and sacrifice of Australians in wars and conflicts. B. The signing of international peace agreements. C. The development of the Australian Constitution. D. The creation of the Australian Federation. Correct answer A. The service and sacrifice of Australians in wars and conflicts. Anzac Day honours Australians who served and lost their lives in wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping missions. It is especially linked to the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, Anzac, whose soldiers first served together during World War I. Anzac Day is observed each year on the 25th of April and is a day of remembrance and respect. Question 7. How many flags are officially recognised in Australia? A 1, B 2, C 3, D 4. Correct answer, C 3. Australia has 3 official flags. 1. The Australian national flag 2, the Aboriginal flag 3, the Torres Strait Islander flag. All 3 flags are officially recognised and represent different parts of Australia's identity and history. Question 8. Who is permitted to give a welcome to country? A. A teacher from the local area. B. A government representative. C. A community leader from any background. D. An Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander custodian of the local area. Correct answer D. An Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander custodian of the local area. A welcome to country can only be delivered by an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander person who is a traditional owner or custodian of the land where the event takes place. This is because the welcome to country is a cultural practice that recognises the ongoing connection between First Nations peoples and their land. Other people, such as teachers or government officials, cannot give a welcome to country, but they may offer an acknowledgement of country instead. Question 9. When were the separate colonies united to form the Commonwealth of Australia? A. In 1901. B. In 1911. C. In 1921. D. In 1931. Correct answer, A, in 1901. The Australian colonies were united in 1901 to form a single nation called the Commonwealth of Australia. This event is known as Federation. From this time, Australia had a national government, while each state kept its own government. Question 10. Which of the following freedoms do Australians have? A. Freedom of speech, expression, association and religion. B. Freedom to ignore laws. C. Freedom from paying taxes. D. None of the above. Correct answer A. Freedom of speech, expression, association and religion. In Australia, people are legally allowed to share their opinions, express their ideas, and speak openly. They can also join clubs, organisations or groups and practise any religion they choose or none at all. These freedoms are protected by Australian law and are considered basic human rights. Question 11. What is the capital city of New South Wales? A. Melbourne. B. Sydney. C. Brisbane. D. Perth. Correct answer, B. Sydney. Sydney is the capital of New South Wales. It is the largest city in the state and an important economic and cultural centre of Australia. Question 12. Who officially appoints the Governor-General of Australia? A. The Australian Parliament, acting on the King's advice. B. The Prime Minister, acting on the King's advice. C. The King of Australia, acting on the Prime Minister's advice. D. The Cabinet, acting on the Prime Minister's advice. Correct answer C. The King of Australia, acting on the Prime Minister's advice. The Governor-General is formally appointed by the King of Australia. However, this appointment is made based on the advice of the Australian Prime Minister. In practice, the Prime Minister selects the person, and the King approves the appointment as part of Australia's constitutional system. Question 13. What is a referendum? A. A vote to choose members of Parliament. B. A public vote to change the Constitution. C. A vote on government policies. D. A vote to appoint the Prime Minister. Correct answer B. A public vote to change the Constitution. A referendum is a vote in which the people decide whether the Constitution should be changed. In Australia, the Constitution can only be changed through a referendum, and the decision is made directly by voters, not by politicians. Question 14. Which freedoms are protected by law in Australia? A. Breaking the law. B. Not paying taxes. C. Speaking freely, joining groups and practicing religion. D. None of the above. Correct answer C. Speaking freely, joining groups and practicing religion. In Australia, people are legally allowed to share their opinions and express ideas openly. They can also join clubs, organisations, or community groups and practice any religion they choose or no religion at all. These freedoms are protected by Australian law and are considered fundamental rights. Question 15. What is one right that Australian citizens have? A. The right to ignore the law. B. The right to live illegally overseas. C. The right to work in any country without permission. D. The right to apply for an Australian passport and return to Australia freely. Correct answer D. The right to apply for an Australian passport and return to Australia freely. Australian citizens have the right to apply for an Australian passport. This passport allows them to leave Australia and re-enter the country freely. This right is part of citizenship and is protected by Australian law. Question 16. Do men and women have the same rights in Australia? A. Yes. B. No. C. It depends on the state. D. Only in some situations. Correct answer A. Yes. In Australia, men and women have equal rights under the law. This means they are treated the same legally and are protected from discrimination. Gender equality is a fundamental value in Australian society. Question 17. Is voting required in Australian federal and state elections? A. Yes, all eligible citizens must vote. B. Yes, but only young adults. C. No, voting is optional. D. It depends on the state. Correct answer A. Yes, all eligible citizens must vote. In Australia, voting is compulsory for all eligible citizens in federal and state elections. This means citizens who are registered to vote are legally required to take part in elections. Compulsory voting helps ensure fair representation and encourages citizens to participate in the democratic process. Question 18. What does a referendum mean in Australia? A. A vote to choose a new government. B. A vote to change the Australian Constitution. C. A vote on local community issues. D. A vote to change political parties. Correct answer B. A vote to change the Australian Constitution. In Australia, a referendum is a national vote that asks citizens to approve or reject a proposed change to the Australian Constitution. Only a referendum can change the Constitution, and it requires the majority of voters nationwide, as well as a majority of states, to agree. Question 19. Who can be required to serve on a jury in Australia? A. Everyone living in Australia. B. People who work in courts. C. Only lawyers and judges. D. Australian citizens aged 18 and over. Correct answer D. Australian citizens aged 18 and over. In Australia, jury service is a civic duty for Australian citizens who are 18 years old or older. Eligible citizens may be selected to serve on a jury to help decide court cases, ensuring that the legal system includes participation from the community. Question 20. What can happen if you do not vote without a valid reason? A. You may be asked to explain why. B. You may be required to pay a fine. C. You may lose your citizenship. D. You may be banned from future elections. Correct answer B. You may be required to pay a fine. In Australia, voting is compulsory for eligible citizens. If a person does not vote and does not have a valid reason, they may receive a fine. This rule encourages participation in elections and helps maintain a strong democratic system.
Thank you for watching. How many questions did you pass? Don't forget to like, subscribe for me. Bye.